You may know of Zara from their fashion products, runway models, and from celebrities who look absolutely stunning adorning any of their products. You may even use some of Zara's products in your daily life, but did you know the origin story of the company? Did you know that the company started by making copies of high-end fashion designs with less sophisticated materials in a single workshop and sold them at cheaper rates than the big names in fashion at the time? Zara is one of the world's leading fashion design brands. Their designs are quite similar to high-end luxury items, but unlike high-end luxury items, Zara's products are available at a bargain price. They are famous for their bags, clothing accessories, beauty products, perfumes, and more recently, home designs. Presently, the company owns over 3,000 stores present in about 100 countries of the world and has an annual production of about 500 million items used in daily life. I know what you are thinking. How did a single workshop in Spain turn into a worldwide fashion brand with an international reputation for revolutionizing fashion? Who is the brain behind Zara's success and recognition? Stick with us till the end to find out. This is the story of Zara. This video is sponsored by Sky is the Limit, your one-stop online store for cool sneakers. Chapter 1. A boy with an empty pocket but a bag of dreams. The story of Zara can only be told correctly when it starts with the founder of the company and one of the greatest fashion revolutionaries of all time. His name is Amancio Ortega Ganoa. Amancio Ortega was born in 1936 to a father who was a railway worker and a mother who worked as a maid. Needless to say, he came from a humble background. However, Ortega's industriousness was sparked by an incident he witnessed when he was only a boy. So, on a particular evening, Ortega and his mother were going home after a long day, and although he was only a young boy at the time, what happened that day changed him forever. His mother stopped by a local grocery store that was on their way home and tried to get some foodstuff on credit. The owner of the store refused, and he saw his mother come out of the store dejected, disappointed, and embarrassed. At that moment, Amancio Ortega made a life-changing decision that would forever change his family's fortune. He dropped out of school and began working to fend for himself and his family. At the time, Amancio Ortega was only 13 years old. Although he may not have realized it, in 1949, when he was only 13 years old, he began his journey in the fashion industry. He started working as an assistant to a shirt maker in the town of La Coruña in Spain, where he learned to make and sew clothes by hand. He spent more than a decade working in the same shop, growing in intelligence and skill. By 1960, Amancio had learnt the trade and was ready to open his own outlet. Chapter 2. Fast Fashion and the Birth of Zara. In the 14 years Amancio spent working for his boss in La Coruña, Amancio picked up skills and the necessary knowledge he needed to learn. But he discovered something else that would later become his business model and change the entire fashion industry forever. While he learnt to make clothes by hand and sell to affluent people in the area, he observed that he could make the same kind of designs with less expensive materials, and in half the time, in more quantities and at affordable prices. This phenomenon became known as fast fashion, and Amancio Ortega is generally credited for making it popular. So after this discovery, he got permission from his boss to set up his own outlet. In 1963, Amancio Ortega began his own company, a small workshop in La Coruña. At the time, the store was called Controversies and had just about 5 workers: Amancio Ortega himself, Rosalia Mera, who would later become his wife, and his 3 siblings. The store's objective was to specialize in the direct production of handmade clothes. They would look at the design of very expensive clothes and dresses that were quite popular at the time, replicate them with less expensive materials, and make them available at affordable prices so that everyone could own one. Since the clothes were handmade, it appealed to the people in the locality, and thus, the GOA store set itself apart from expensive clothes stores around who just bought ready-made clothes and resold them in their stores at expensive prices. In the beginning, the store made quilted bathrobes, lingerie, and underwear copying designs that were in vogue at the time. Amancio understood that if he made the kind of clothes and designs people wanted at a cheaper rate, he could make a lot of money, and boy, was he right. Over the next 10 years, the store grew exponentially. It had thousands of customers and over 500 employees, many of which were Spanish women who were involved in the sewing of the clothes and distribution of already made products. This way, Amancio Ortega was able to rise up to the demand, control supply, and effectively set the prices for his products. In 1975, the first Zara boutique was opened in La Coruna. Although it was initially named Zorba, like the popular 60s movie, Zorba the Greek, Ortega changed the name to Zara after he discovered that a bar down the street bore the same name. The Zara boutique in La Coruna became the first of many to come. But Amancio was by no means done. In fact, the world was about to witness the birth of a fashion giant. Before we go any further, if you've been looking for a reputable online store for the best kicks and sneakers, Sky is the Limit has amazing offers for you. You can check out the description section below for the link that will take you straight to their website. Chapter 3. From fast fashion to instant fashion, Amancio Ortega transformed his business from just a clothes manufacturing outlet to a modern fashion line. In just 10 years after opening the first Zara boutique in La Coruna, Galicia, he opened 9 more stores in various places across Spain and made the store in La Coruna the headquarters of operations. Till date, the headquarters of Zara remains in Arteixo, A Coruna, Galicia, Spain. As the business grew exponentially, Ortega thought it wise to review his business model into something more sustainable. When the business began in 1963, it operated on fast fashion, which involved copying expensive and trending fashion designs and making them much faster and with cheaper materials to sell at lower prices than those of big brands. But by 1980, Amancio Ortega turned Zara's brand identity into something better. See, Ortega made the astute choice to use information technology and teams of designers rather than lone designers to improve the design, production, and distribution process in order to shorten lead times and respond faster to emerging trends, a technique he called instant fashions. This was a much better option than fast fashion. How? Fast turnaround times and careful attention to consumer preferences helped Zara become a global leader in fashion by enabling it to provide fashionable clothing at competitive prices. Following the success he had in Spain, Ortega took the bold decision to make Zara an international brand starting with Europe. But first, he created a holding company that will coordinate Zara's expansion and the subsequent creation of other subsidiaries for the company. This holding company came to be known as Inditex, and it is the parent company to Zara and numerous subsidiaries, including Ortega's charities around the world. It was created in 1985 and coordinated the expansion of Zara abroad. By the year 1988, the first Zara store outside Spain was opened in the town of Porto, Portugal. And like clockwork, the company spread into America the very next year as it opened its first boutique in New York City. Over the course of the next 20 years, the company expanded to nearly all the continents of the world, from Asia to the Americas and Australia. Today, Inditex has over 170,000 employees in about 100 countries of the world, and close to 10,000 stores, including but not limited to Zara stores. Chapter 4. Zara and Controversies. Over the years, Zara has been involved in some nasty scandals and controversies. Some stem from accusations of using sweatshops, copyright infringements, discrimination, among others. Here are a few of them. Zara was accused in 2011 of outsourcing its manufacturing to sweatshops. The Brazilian government then shut down the factory that made clothes for Zara due to terrible working conditions. In response to accusations against the company, representatives for Zara claimed that the factory belonged to an external supplier and that they had violated Inditex's workshop code of conduct by using slave labor. The company further claims that factories in question have been urged to promptly regularize the workers' working conditions. Customers of Zara in Istanbul, Turkey, started discovering handwritten notes in the pockets of in-store clothing that appeared to be from Turkish workers in November 2017. The notes asked customers to put pressure on Zara to pay the workers' outstanding salaries. The company made it clear that Bravo Textile, a third-party manufacturer, was to blame for the unpaid salaries. Bravo Textile had stopped paying its workers in the lead-up to its closure after declaring bankruptcy. The company then promised to assist in paying unpaid workers' compensation. Zara was accused of stealing designs from many independent designers in 2016. Tuesday Basson, one of the designers, was said to have reached out to Zara initially. The company stated that Basson's designs were not unique enough and that they only received a few complaints. After some time, Zara replied, saying that they are in communication with Basson's attorney to address the matter and that the disputed products have been removed from sale. In 2007, a buyer pointed out a swastika on a handbag design, prompting Zara to remove the item from its shelves. Zara stated that the sign was hidden when the handbag was selected, and that the bag was supplied by an outside vendor. Zara removed the item from its retail locations, and one of its representatives, Susan Sweat, stated that if the emblem had been obvious, the bag would not have been sourced. More recently, in November 2022, about 1,000 shop assistants who work at Inditex-owned fashion businesses, especially those from Zara, went on strike in the company's hometown in northern Spain to seek higher pay. To prevent another strike, the company acceded to their request and approved that shop staff from 44 outlets will receive an additional €322 a month from Inditex, the parent company of Zara. Chapter 5. Zara Today. According to a 2019 ranking of the greatest global brands by international brand consultant Interbrand, Zara came in at number 29. 4 basic adjectives sum up its main values: sustainability, beauty, clarity, and functionality. Around 12,000 new styles are produced by Zara every year. In case a design sells out too quickly, new styles will be released to fill up the vacancy. This suggests greater options for customers and an increased likelihood of brand relevance for a long time. The Zara brand had a valuation of about $20 billion in 2023. According to Forbes, Amancio Ortega has an estimated net worth of $103 billion. So, what do you think? Is the story of Zara one of the most interesting entrepreneurial cases of all time? Did Amancio Ortega fulfill his childhood dream to never be poor? By the way, he is 88 years old in 2024 and sits as the chairman of Inditex, one of the biggest conglomerates in the world. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Finally, like young Amancio dreamt, dream big because sky is the limit.